Have you ever wondered why you feel completely drained at the end of the day? Even though you barely did anything? No heavy work, no intense physical effort. Maybe you just sat, scrolled, thought, or tried to relax, yet somehow your mind feels exhausted, foggy, and overwhelmed. And the worst part? You can't explain why. It feels confusing, almost frustrating. Because logically, exhaustion should come from effort, but mentally, you feel tired without moving an inch. If this sounds familiar, you're not broken, lazy, or weak. What you're experiencing is something psychology understands very well, but most people never learn what's actually happening inside their mind. Asterisk today. We're going to uncover the hidden psychological reasons why your mind feels exhausted even when your body does almost nothing. You'll learn why rest doesn't always feel restful, how modern life silently overloads your brain, and why thinking, not doing, is often the real source of mental fatigue. By the end of this video, you'll understand why your exhaustion makes sense, what's secretly draining your energy, and how to finally stop feeling tired all the time without blaming yourself. This isn't motivation. This is understanding. And once you see it, you won't look at doing nothing the same way again. Asterisk. The first thing to understand is that mental exhaustion works very differently from physical exhaustion. Physical tiredness comes from muscle use, movement, and energy expenditure, you can clearly see. Mental exhaustion, on the other hand, comes from cognitive load. The amount of information, decisions, emotions, and unresolved thoughts your brain is processing. Think about this. You might sit on your couch all day, but your mind is constantly active. You're replaying conversations, worrying about the future, judging yourself, comparing your life to others, or trying to figure things out silently. Your brain doesn't rest just because your body does. Psychology shows that the brain consumes a huge amount of energy when it's engaged in self-control, emotional regulation, decision-making, and overthinking. So even if you're not doing anything, your mind may be working overtime behind the scenes. This is why someone can feel more exhausted after a day of worrying, scrolling, and thinking than after physical work. Mental fatigue isn't visible, but it's very real. Asterisk. One of the most common reasons people feel mentally exhausted is overthinking. Not dramatic overthinking. Quiet, constant, background, overthinking, the kind where your mind never fully shuts off. You analyze things that already happened. You imagine conversations that haven't happened yet. You question your decisions. You think about what you should be doing instead of what you're doing now. Each of these thoughts may feel small, but together they create a constant mental noise. And your brain treats unresolved thoughts like open loops, problems that need solving. Even when you're resting, your mind stays alert, scanning for answers, outcomes, and control. This state keeps your nervous system slightly activated, which slowly drains your mental energy. That's why doing nothing doesn't feel restful when your mind won't stop talking. Your body may be still, but your brain is sprinting. Asterisk another. Hidden cause of mental exhaustion is emotional suppression. When you push emotions down. Stress, sadness, frustration, disappointment. Your brain has to work harder to keep them buried. Psychology research shows that suppressing emotions requires significant cognitive effort. For example, you feel overwhelmed but tell yourself to stay strong. You feel anxious but try to act calm. You feel unmotivated but force yourself to appear fine each time you do this. Your mind is multitasking, feeling the emotion, monitoring it, hiding or controlling it. That constant internal management is exhausting. Over time, emotional suppression builds pressure. Even when you finally rest, your brain doesn't relax. It stays alert, making sure those emotions don't surface. This is why people who seem calm, kind, or fine on the outside often feel deeply exhausted on the inside. Their energy isn't spent on action, it's spent on control. Asterisk, many people assume mental exhaustion comes from boredom or lack of stimulation. In reality, it often comes from too much stimulation. Modern life constantly feeds your brain information. Notifications, messages, social media, news, opinions, comparisons even. Passive scrolling keeps your brain in a reactive state. You're processing images, emotions, social cues, and expectations, all without realizing it. Your brain evolved to handle limited information. But today, it's exposed to more stimuli in 1 hour than previous generations experienced in a day. So when you finally stop doing things, your brain doesn't immediately relax. It's already overloaded. Mental exhaustion isn't a sign that you're inactive. It's a sign that your mind hasn't had real recovery time. Asterisk. Here's a subtle but powerful reason you feel tired, even when resting. Guilt. Many people feel guilty when they're not productive. So even while resting, part of their mind is criticizing them. I should be doing more. I'm wasting time. I'm falling behind. This internal pressure turns rest into another mental task instead of recovery. Your brain stays tense, alert, and judgmental. True rest requires psychological safety, the feeling that it's okay to pause. Without that, your mind never fully powers down. This is why people can sleep for hours and still wake up exhausted. The body rested. The mind, DID in single quotes, T asterisk. So if you feel mentally exhausted, even when you do nothing, it doesn't mean you're lazy or broken. It means your mind has been carrying more than you realized. Thoughts, emotions, stimulation, and pressure that never fully stop. Mental exhaustion is not about effort. It's about unresolved mental load. The moment you stop blaming yourself and start understanding what's draining you, something shifts. Because awareness is the first step toward real rest. So here's the question I want you to think about. What is your mind constantly carrying that your body never gets a break from? Let me know in the comments. Your answer might help someone else realize they're not alone.